Now let's be honest, most people in eFootball love spamming centrally because the game heavily rewards vertical pressure and central overloads. I mean, we've all conceded goals like this before, and it is annoying. But after using this system many times in Division 1, I think I found one of the most interesting anti-meta structures in this game. Now, the reason why this structure is so effective is because it shuts down central spamming while creating the type of positional play that gives you total control of the game. I'll break down this video into 5 parts so it's easy to understand. Each part is very important, so pay close attention. The foundation of the system is pretty simple. Instead of staying wide like traditional fullbacks, both fullbacks invert into midfield. This creates a 2-3 structure in build-up, giving us numerical superiority in central areas and far more passing options. Now, thanks to the shape, we also maintain 3 defensive midfielders sitting right in front of the defense during the transition phase. This makes it very difficult for the opponent to break through the middle quickly. The defensive midfielders are very close to each other, and that forces the opposition wide, where we can easily win back the ball. When building up, I like to follow this one important football principle. Play behind the press. See, when a player leaves his position to press, he's also leaving the space behind him. That space becomes a zone to exploit. And the issue that most people have is that they try to play directly into that free player. Instead, we must play into an enabler first. That enables us to change the angle. We can see the press coming from a central area. We play first to the enabler and then to the zone. The timing can sometimes be tricky, but ultimately the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Here we can see Gattuso wants to press, and that's what we want, because once he commits, there's no way back. So, what happens if the opponent doesn't press? Then we have the opportunity to play a line breaking pass. If the opponent tries to mark the passing lanes, he's going to be in big trouble. You can also play directly into the center forward, especially if you have a player that's really good on the ball. Right there we can see it's gonna mark the AMF. We play directly into the center forward. Now, once you get into the final third, a lot of it comes down to your decision making. The system can get you far into dangerous positions, but it's up to you to make them count. One particular area that deserves special attention is the half space. These positions are extremely difficult to defend because we're placing a player between multiple defenders. As a result, the opponent is constantly forced to make decisions. Do they step out and press? Do they hold their position? Which defender should engage? And if one player commits, what space is that leaving behind? The more often you can place your opponent in these situations, the more likely they are to make a mistake. And that's why you'll often see this formation creating opportunities without relying on pace or individual brilliance. The structure itself is constantly asking questions of the defense, and eventually those questions become difficult to answer. So, one of the biggest concerns with attacking structures like this is what happens when we lose the ball. Now, against meta formations such as the 4-3-1-2, transitions are usually very dangerous because the opponent is constantly looking to play for the center as quickly as possible. However, this system is surprisingly stable. Because the two fullbacks invert into midfield, they stay close to the defensive midfielder, creating a compact midfield triangle. This means that when possession is lost, there are immediately three players positioned close enough to apply pressure, block the passing lanes, and slow down the counterattack. Just notice how difficult it is for the opponent to play a direct pass to the center forward. The distances between players are very small, which allows the team to stay compact and protect the central areas of the pitch. So, instead of defending with isolated players, we're trying to defend with numbers around the ball. And since most eFootball players rely heavily on central progression, forcing them away from the middle immediately takes away one of their biggest strengths. Of course, every formation has weaknesses, and at times we can be exposed on the wide areas, but this is why it's important to have quick defenders at the back in this formation. So, how do you create this formation? Ideally, this is how you'd want to do it, but there's one small issue. This won't work. It won't work because eFootball doesn't allow us to play with two center backs. If we tried, one midfielder would simply drop back. So, this is where engine manipulation comes in. If we can't play two center backs, we play three center backs and push one. This will give us the 2-3 shape that we want. Now, what do I mean by push? Yeah, we put a center back on offensive. The positioning of the player is very important. If we position Cucurella here, he's going to push up to the AMS. We don't want that. Instead, we must position the player as low as possible. That way, he pushes to the DMS, and that's exactly where we want him. These are the individual instructions for all the players. I like anchoring the anchorman. It's not necessary, but it prevents him from drifting, so it keeps the passing lanes open. I also like keeping the AMS a bit wide. especially if I have a center forward that's able to drop deep. Now, you could play this formation with pretty much any playstyle. I've used pretty much all of them, except long ball, but I prefer long ball counter because of the narrowness and the off the ball runs. So, yeah, that's the system. It might look weird, but a formation is just a simple way of showing something complex. If you enjoyed this type of tactical analysis and want to see more unique eFootball systems, consider subscribing. Peace.